It's the middle of the afternoon. The sky is clear. The birds are singing. And then something goes wrong. The sun starts disappearing, not behind a cloud, not slowly. It's being eaten by something. In 3 minutes, it will be gone completely. The air turns cold. The birds go silent. Every animal around you starts behaving like it's night. And you are standing in the open with no explanation, no warning, and no way to know if the sun is ever coming back. And what your ancestors did next was the most human thing imaginable. Let's start with what a solar eclipse actually feels like. Because we've made it so safe and so predictable that we've completely forgotten what it is. A total solar eclipse drops the temperature by up to 10 degrees in under 3 minutes. The sky turns a color that doesn't exist at any other time. Not night, not dusk, something in between, a bruised twilight at noon. Stars appear, planets appear. The horizon glows orange in every direction simultaneously, as if the entire world is on fire just out of sight. Crickets start chirping. Birds fly to their roosts. Dogs howl. Cows return to their barns. Every animal on Earth, across millions of years of evolution, responds to a solar eclipse as if the world is ending. Because for most of their evolutionary history, it meant exactly that. And here's what nobody tells you. The human eye, when the sun is 99% covered, still perceives it as bright daylight. Then, in the last few seconds before totality, in the last heartbeat before the sun vanishes completely, the light drops faster than your brain can process. One moment it's afternoon. The next moment it's dark. No transition, no warning, just gone. Now imagine that for the first time, with no science, with no language for what is happening, with no one who has ever seen it before. The oldest confirmed record of a solar eclipse observation comes from China, around 236 BC. Two royal astronomers named Shi and Ho failed to predict an eclipse and were reportedly executed for it. The emperor believed the eclipse was a dragon devouring the sun, and that drummers and archers needed to be deployed immediately to drive it away. This wasn't superstition. This was emergency protocol. This was the ancient equivalent of launching a missile defense system. But go back further. Long before written records, long before emperors and astronomers, what happened then? In 2015, researchers studying ancient rock art in the Chumash territory of California found a recurring symbol. A circle with radiating lines, painted in red and black, appearing in sites across hundreds of miles. For decades, archaeologists assumed it was a sun symbol, a fertility image, something decorative. Then they mapped the symbols against astronomical records and found something that changed the interpretation completely. Every single one of those paintings was located at a site where a total solar eclipse had passed directly overhead in the last 10,000 years. The circle wasn't the sun. It was the corona, the ring of white fire that appears around the black disk of the moon during totality. These people weren't decorating. They were recording. They were trying to hold on to something that terrified them so completely, they needed to put it on stone before the memory faded. Because that's what humans do. We make meaning out of the things we can't explain. Let's reconstruct what actually happened when an eclipse hit a prehistoric group. You're in a camp of about 30 people. It's midday. You're resting, making tools, tending to children. And then someone points. The sun has a shadow on it, a bite taken out of its edge. You've never seen this before. Nobody in your group has. Nobody in your group's memory has. Because total solar eclipses at any specific location happen on average once every 375 years. Your grandparents didn't see this. Their grandparents didn't see this. This is new. This has never happened before. Within minutes, the temperature drops. The birds stop. The light turns wrong. Children start crying. The adults huddle together because that's what humans do. We move toward each other when something threatens us. Anthropologists studying modern communities that experienced eclipses without warning have documented the same response every time. Vocalization, people call out, they shout, they make noise. physical clustering, bodies moving together instinctively. And then, within seconds of totality, something that researchers didn't expect. Silence. Complete, total silence. For the duration of the eclipse, the entire group stops making any sound at all. Because the part of the human brain that generates noise is also the part that assesses threat. And when the threat is this total, this incomprehensible, the brain shuts everything down and waits. That moment of silence is 300,000 years old. It's the same silence your ancestors made. Now here's the part that genuinely surprised scientists. The response to the eclipse wasn't just fear, it was ritual. Almost immediately. Before the sun came back, before they even knew it was coming back. In Gobekli Tepe, the 11,600-year-old stone temple complex in Turkey, archaeologists have found evidence that the site's astronomical alignments may have been designed partly to predict and mark eclipse seasons. Not individual eclipses, because those are nearly impossible to predict without centuries of observation. But the periods of the year when eclipses were possible. The builders of Gobekli Tepe were already watching the sky with enough systematic attention that they understood something predictable was happening. Something that could be tracked, something that might even be controlled, or at least appeased. Because that's the crucial step. The moment the eclipse ended, the moment the sun came back, something caused that. Something responded to what the group did during the darkness. They made noise, and the sun returned. They clustered together, and the sun returned. They performed whatever gesture, whatever call, whatever movement felt instinctively right in that moment of terror, and the sun returned. The human brain, wired since birth to find cause and effect in everything, connected those two events instantly and permanently. We did something, and it worked, and you can never, ever unlearn that. This is how ritual was born, not from calm reflection, not from leisure, from absolute terror and a brain that refused to accept coincidence. By the time agriculture arrived and civilizations began forming, eclipse rituals had become some of the most elaborate ceremonies in human culture. The Babylonians created the first reliable eclipse prediction system around 700 BC, a mathematical cycle called the Saros, repeating every 18 years, 11 days. They didn't understand why it worked. They just knew that if you counted carefully enough, the dragon came back on a schedule. The ancient Greeks calculated eclipse paths. The Maya built entire temple complexes oriented around Venus cycles that intersected with eclipse prediction. The Inca called totality, Inti Huanui, the death of the sun, and sacrificed animals to bring it back. Different continents, different languages, different gods, same ritual logic. The sun dies, we act. The sun returns. 3,000 years of eclipse ceremony. All of it descended from that first moment of silence in an open field when the sky went wrong and a group of frightened humans clustered together and waited. Here's what's strange about living now. You know exactly when the next total solar eclipse will cross your country. You know the date, the time, the path, the duration, down to the second. You can download an app that shows you precisely where to stand to see it. And still, every single person who has ever witnessed a total solar eclipse with their own eyes says the same thing, that they were not prepared, that no amount of knowing made it feel like anything other than wrong, that when the light dropped in that final second before totality, something ancient inside them responded before their rational brain could catch up. Because your brain is the same brain, the same wiring, the same ancient software running underneath everything you know. For 300,000 years, your ancestors watched the sky. They tracked it, painted it, built temples to it, and carved it into stone because they needed the universe to make sense. They needed the darkness to mean something. They needed the sun to come back for a reason. And when it did, every single time, without fail, for every eclipse in all of human history, they believed they had something to do with it. We know better now. And yet, on the day of the next eclipse, when the light drops and the birds go silent and the temperature falls and the corona appears, you will feel it too. That's not ignorance. That's inheritance.